Uh, Today we are going to discuss whether or not we require carbs, what are the right kinds of carbs, and how much should we be consuming. Also, what is the essence of GI and GL in carbs, and what is the role of fiber for our gut? We often make out carbs to be the villain, but are they actually so? To discuss all this and much, much more, let me invite Farooq to start the session. He, ladies and gentlemen, is an Olympian, two-time world champion in sailing, and has had an active sporting career of 40 years. He's won innumerable awards, including the Chhatrapati Shivaji Award and the Arjuna Award. But most importantly, he's a mentor to each and every one of us on the group with a mission: Hargar Healthy, Hargar Medicine Free. Let's listen to him very, very carefully and tune into this very, very interesting session. Over to you, Farooq.
Thank you, Ruchita, and very good evening to all of you. I hope you had a early dinner and did some exercise, because that's the worst thing that you can do, is to have a late night dinner and then just go to sleep. Today we're going to be talking on a very interesting topic, that is carbs. It is a very misunderstood topic. You do need carbs, okay, but how much and in what form and in what balance is the key to good health. When you put your food on the plate, ask yourself one simple question. Is this food going to cause inflammation in my body? If the answer is yes, then try and avoid those kind of foods. Now, basically, inflammation is something that is a lot being talked about nowadays, and one were to say, okay, tell me what foods should I avoid to avoid inflammation in my body. And straight away, the thought comes to samosas, batata vadas, deep fried foods, pastries, chocolates, sweets, desserts. All these things do cause inflammation. But when you have the right carbs, okay, with the right amount of fiber and protein and fat, you build yourself a healthy plate. So today you are very lucky, because you're going to be listening from Veda, who probably had carbs really, being an employee at a very, very high level. Carbs was what they used to thrive on, because if you have carbs, it gives you an instant kick and you feel good for some time. But then it also causes a spike in your sugar level. Sugar levels go up and then sort of it crashes. So you're very lucky to hear from somebody who was on one side of the scale. She got onto this program, started learning things, and changed her whole health around. So listen to her very carefully, because what she has to say will have a significant impact on your overall health. Over to you, Veda.
Thank you so much, Farooq. And yes, as Farooq mentioned, I didn't have any clue about, the right carbs. In fact, what it would impact. वो सब बचपन में सीखा था, but never really we remembered or applied. I think it was just for our exams, right? So yes, today is a very important topic, because when I talk to people about the program, the first thing they say, Acha, you will ask us to stop eating carbs. No. In fact, this is one program which has not asked me to stop eating carbs ever, because what we believe in is correcting the portions and correcting the type of carbs that we have, right? Okay, so let us see. Now we know that we have three different macronutrients, which are carbs, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. These are macronutrients which we eat in large portions. We need also, and we get in large portions. Correct? Now, each of these macronutrients impact the blood glucose over time in three different fashions. As Farooq just said, carbs जब हम खाते हैं, that time our blood glucose or sugar spikes are immediate. But unfortunately, they even drop down immediately. And hence, you see people, if they're not eating the right food, especially when their insulin regulation is not right, you will suddenly see people getting, dizzy and all of that when they're having low sugar or high sugar. Whereas in the case of protein and fats, the sugar rise or the glucose rise, blood glucose rise is gradual and it sustains for a longer time as well. Okay, so you are able to, and that is why it is more beneficial to eat protein, limited amount of fats, because fats, even though the blood sugar rise is not high, it is not very good. We don't need that as much as the amount we eat. Okay, and fat is anyways inherently there in most of the food that we anyways eat without, even if you don't fry it, right? So now let's look at what are carbs. Carbs are a combination of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. They give us energy, especially for our brain and muscles, and hence is very much required. They also give us essential nutrients like sugar, fibers, and starches. Okay, how does it help us? How does it give us energy? It actually, just a second. Okay. During digestion, carbs break down into simple sugars, then that is being absorbed, from the intestines into the bloodstream. Okay. And then it is sent, glucose gets, it is absorbed as glucose, blood glucose, and glucose gets sent to the body cells through insulin. If insulin is not regulating fine, your glucose is not sent to the cells, and hence you see issues with your cellular health. But if insulin regulation is fine, insulin helps in pushing it, and the glucose gets basically the insulin helps in actually pushing the glucose into your cells, which gives you energy. Okay, that's how it gives us fuel, or rather, it is the fuel, as fuel is to our bikes and cars, carbs is the fuel for our system, along with even proteins. Okay. Now, carbs are two types, simple and complex. Simple is your sugars in any form. Those are, simple carbs. Complex is basically divided again into two, starch and fiber. And both are important, right? Now, what happens with complex carbs? Why are they good for our health? Because they help in weight management, they help in improving our metabolic health. How does metabolic health improve? Because they take it, our body takes longer time for us to digest complex carbs, and hence your metabolism improves. Okay, helps you maintain the blood sugar levels, because again digestion thoda time lagta hai, so your sugar spikes are not going to be higher, and eventually, hence, because you're able to manage your weight as well. Weight management kaise? Anyways, we'll have a few slides as well. So it'll eventually help us in managing all of this much better than if you would have had a simple carbs. What happens right now? Unfortunately, the way we have been eating is, say, a simple lunch. हम usually जब lunch खाते हैं, and how I think when we were brought up, it was a norm that you would have chapati, sabzi, चावल, दाल, शायद कुछ रायता या salad, but this was a norm. Now, earlier days it was fine because our activities were different. Even our the quality of the food that we were getting was different. Now also we try to in fact follow this. In fact, now the portion of vegetables and dal has reduced. We will probably have a fried rice which will hardly have, will just have a tadka, and then roti, not one roti but three rotis. And I we literally see when I'm nowadays at lunch with eating lunch with others, I can see people have three four rotis, and the sabzi bowl is so small, and they're sharing that sabzi. So imagine the actual amount of micronutrients that's going, and the excess amount of carbs that is going into your into your stomach, okay, or in your body. The recommendation is your carbs should hardly be one fourth, in fact, lesser than one fourth also of your total calorie intake. And ideally, it should come from whole grains. But unfortunately, as I mentioned, we have much, much higher. Calorie share of cereals is as high as 70% in rural areas. Rural areas, if we are still into the farming profession, they are still able to expend the energy or the calories as well. But unfortunately, even to now, you're seeing rural areas also obesity and overweight cases are increasing, right? Processed food counts to for nearly 10% of our average total. In fact, it is much higher now in all of our households. Okay, complex versus simple carbs. Now, complex long chain of sugar molecules, whereas this is short chain of sugar molecules. So logically, short chain digest quickly, फटाफट हो जाता है, and hence your sugar spikes are higher, and sugar crashes also immediately, gives you a crashing feeling. Let's come back to the left side. Complex carbs, it takes time to digest, hence slowly your blood sugar slower than simple, but not slower than protein, right? It is less processed. It makes you feel fuller longer because complex carbs have fiber in it. It has higher dietary fiber, whereas simple doesn't have dietary fiber. It is completely devoid of fiber. Uh, Complex boosts your performance, gives you a greater amount of sustained energy, whereas simple carbs give you one immediate spike, but it will reduce your performance immediately in a few, in a couple of hours itself. Whereas complex carbs are high in antioxidants and vitamins. You will find complex carbs in your whole grain cereals. You will have in bananas, oats, carrots, brown rice, okay, where you have the husk as well. Whereas simple carbs are all your sugary stuff, fruit juices, which are devoid of fiber, where you're straining out, right? If you A smoothie is better than a juice, right? A whole fruit is better than a juice. Now, cereals, any of your cereals that you're eating, all of that has simple carbs also, right? Sodas, cakes, anything that has added sugar are simple carbs. Now, a very, very important concept that we're going to talk about, which will help you identify the type of carb that you can eat and the amount of carb. Okay, two definitions. One is glycemic index and one is glycemic load. I will go to the definitions and come back to this slide. Okay. Glycemic index is a ranking system that measures how quickly carbs in food raise your blood sugar levels. मतलब आप जब खाओगे वो कितना जल्दी आपका शुगर लेवल ऊपर जाएगा is your glycemic index. So the higher the glycemic index, the quicker the sugar rises. So when basically you need to avoid food which is having a high glycemic index. But there are food items which raise your blood sugar fast. However, when you have them in lower quantities, how will you know? Glycemic load will give you the whole picture of what is the right carb to eat and what is the wrong carb which you need to avoid. Glycemic load is a measure that considers both quantity and quality of carbs in a specific food or meal. It provides an accurate assessment of the impact of carbs on your blood sugar. Now let us go to the example because that's how I will be able to explain to you. A watermelon, its glycemic index is high. मतलब उसमें जो sugar वो देगा body को, it is very very high. But its glycemic load is low. क्यों? Watermelon is consisting of maximum क्या? Water. Water doesn't have any sugar. Okay, जो थोड़ा बहुत content है of fiber in the watermelon, that is giving you a sugar. That quantity that is going into your body of sugar is much lower, and hence your glycemic load is low. I hope this is clear. So, diabetics, when they're told कि watermelon नहीं खाना चाहिए, गाजर नहीं खाना चाहिए, if they're told, then that is wrong. You can eat watermelon. The timing of when you eat should be observed and tracked, as well as the portion. Just because we are saying that watermelon can be eaten and it's not going to impact your sugar levels, it doesn't mean that you eat a whole watermelon. You need to be conscious of the serving of watermelon. A one portion, of watermelon, or a small bowl of watermelon should suffice, not a whole watermelon, because again that will increase your spike, right? Now let's see. So this is what I was saying. A low GI is your sugar is pushed, in a slow fashion to a fountain जिसमें ज़्यादा force नहीं है, pressure नहीं है. It's your low GI. When the pressure is really high, that's showing your sugar is getting pushed into your bloodstream at a very high level and hence increasing your sugar spikes. Okay. Now, this is a table which will give you an idea. We've just listed a few carbs which are commonly eaten and which will give you an idea. So you see, we see rice, whether it is white or brown, it actually lies in a high glycemic index and even high glycemic load. So it is, though brown rice is slightly lower in both, so hence it is preferred, but it is still at a higher level. Same thing with your wheat bread, white bread, etc. Now let us come to an example. Again, watermelon you have seen 72 and 4 because its glycemic load is low, and hence you can eat watermelon in smaller, normal quantities. Banana, again, your glycemic index is not that high, so you can eat a banana, but again, you will have to be very conscious of your portions because it has a slightly higher glycemic load, definitely something that diabetics cannot have. Look at carrots. Awesome, awesome vegetables that you can have. Roots. 47 is the glycemic index, and only 3 is your glycemic load. So I know I used to, when I didn't know about this, I remember my mother-in-law used to have carrot juice every day, and I was like, boss, you have sugar levels. But when I came into this program and I saw this and I understood. Obviously, I now know that the amount of carrot juice she had should have been reduced, but it was okay for her to have a carrot or a carrot juice, right? So I hope this can help and you got a chance to glance. The best things that can be had, look at chickpeas and lentils. Your glycemic index is also low and your load is also comparatively low. So absolutely good. And what do we get from there? Your proteins, right? One a very good boon, I would say, for my family and many are the BFAT low GI rice that is now available to us and which I have been eating and feeding my family with for more than a year now. Why this is good? Go back to the table. Okay, look at quinoa, 53, right, and 13. Whereas we actually have now rice which tastes as similar to white rice, no change in taste, but your GI level is only 52, much lesser than even your some of the complex carbs, right? So if you are a rice eating family, even if you eat like not too much of rice, this is a great rice to replace. Ask the person who has invited you today how you can access BFAT low GI rice. Okay, I use this even for making my idli batter, for dosa batter. I'm a South Indian, so we eat a lot of I'm in fact now I love my rice. I eat lesser of wheat because even wheat is much higher GI than my BFAT rice. Okay. Um, Carbs to set your body clock. Now you need carbs in the morning, right? Why? You need it to improve your efficiency because when you're getting up in the morning, you need your metabolism to get kicked, right? So it helps you to reduce your sleepiness, reduces your stress hormones, reduces effects of workload, improved insulin sensitivity, satiety, and metabolic health. It will help you feel full as well, improved insulin response. But again, it needs to be in a right portion and complex carbs. Okay, it will also help you with your mental performance, which is improving your memory, alertness, and responsiveness. Now let's come to we knew about starch. we saw that the other type of carb is fiber. Ideal intake of fiber in, I'm going to now talk about sedentary and moderate, because I don't think 95% of us actually go into heavy. We don't do that, right? 95% of us fall into sedentary. Even for sedentary, we need at least 30 grams of fiber per day. Men and women need 25 grams. But we hardly take any fiber. If you look at the amount of fiber that you eat, you can go ahead and look at, there are many apps that will help you measure. I think मुश्किल से हम 5 grams लेते रहेंगे. Now, why do we need fiber? There are two types of fiber, soluble and insoluble. Both of these have their own functions. The soluble fiber, it promotes satiety, a feeling of fullness. It lowers your cholesterol levels. That means in lipid regulation, it helps. So if you are having, high HDL, LDL ratio or triglycerides and all, take additional fiber. Supports your gut flora, matlab gut microbiome. It will help in improving your good bacteria and the diversity of your bacteria, or I shouldn't say bacteria, of your microbiota. Improves blood sugar. It basically helps in your blood regulation because it adds bulk to your, the food that you're eating. Okay. And when it adds bulk to that, the food movement basically slows down when you have fiber, because the digestion, slows down, and hence it improves your blood sugar levels. Soluble fiber you can find in apples, beans, nuts, oatmeals. I already mentioned the food movement improves your beneficial bacteria. It basically gives food to the beneficial bacteria and hence they thrive. Insoluble, basically, which doesn't solve in water, it promotes laxation. So you will be able to, it improves your bowel movements basically. Intestinal health, it is found in whole wheat, leafy green vegetables, quinoa, all your complex carbs. Okay, creates bulk in your stool and hence help you pass your stools also on a daily basis. Now, how do you get to these numbers? Okay. You can have a lot more salads in your portions. You can also supplement with the right fibers. And in fact, this is something that has helped me massively. But before telling you the how it has helped me, the fiber that is provided or available from NutriLIV basically is a combination of resistant maltodextrin, inulin, and partially hydrolyzed guar gum. Okay, ये जो तीन natural sources है fiber के, they are combined into one uh, powder form of fiber. You can see it is there with me as well. Each of these has their own benefits. So the maltodextrin, what is it doing? It is improving your good bacteria. It is helping you feel full for a longer time. So it will in turn help you in your weight management as well. Blood glucose. So it will actually help you avoid snacking in between. So if you're having fiber in the morning along with your protein, when you're having your breakfast, you will for sure see a difference that you will not feel hungry by 11:30, and you're having your lunch by 12:31 at the right time. Okay. Inulin helps with the prebiotic effect. Matlab, what is prebiotics for? For feeding the good bacteria. Okay. Assists in nutrient absorption. Matlab, intestinal lining में जो once your food is digested, your intestines actually uh, allow the micronutrients to be absorbed, and fiber plays that role by putting that layer there. Okay, helping there. Beneficial in blood glucose as well. And then here your guar gum, what is it doing? It is actually suppressing the harmful bacteria, improves your bowel regularity, gut barrier function. Now the same thing. Now your intestines basically absorb your micronutrients. But if your intestinal lining, the barrier is damaged, then it can also absorb the toxins. The toxins can actually leak. So your fiber is, playing such a huge variety of, advantageous roles, that we can benefit from. If when you're doing your gut reset, it is recommended to, when you're doing your gut reset, gut cleanse, you can say the 10-day one, it is recommended to have one, that 5 grams, 4.5 grams of fiber. You can see the scoop is this small. You can put it in a glass of water and have it 30 minutes before your breakfast and 30 minutes before your dinner. This improves your gut health. Gut microbiome is a balanced network of bacteria and microbes. We have both good and bad. We had a very fantastic session of gut health a few days back. If you didn't attend it, go to our YouTube site and look for the recording. You will be able to access it. Dietary fiber helps in nutrient absorption. We just spoke about it. It has a prebiotic effect. Fiber lowers your cholesterol. So it helps in your lipid regulation as well as your sugar regulation. It lowers your inflammation level. Farooq again alluded to it in the first 5 minutes. A lot of us, again, I would say, because of the food that we eat, because of the processed food, because of the timing of food, because of your stress levels, because you're not sleeping on time, the inflammation level in our body is much higher, leading to obesity, leading to gut issues, leading to heart, issues, etc. Two things that help is, one is of course your fiber, and the second thing massively that helps is your omega-3, salmon omega-3 that we have. So dietary fiber passes through the system and cleanses it from toxins. Now, when you have fiber in the morning, we spoke of carbs in the morning. When you have fiber in the morning, as per study, when you have a fiber rich, so say you're having this fiber, you're also having some sprouts, for example. Sprouts have protein, sprouts have a crunch, which is your fiber, right? Um, you'll feel full, and hence it will positively impact your next food intake. You will not feel like you're eating some fast food. Sensation of satiety helps to control your blood glucose level and also delays gastric emptying. Basically, it will regulate it to have to be doing gastric emptying where every 24 hours. How can you improve your fiber in your food? And how can you improve carbs? So instead of a aloo paratha, aloo is again high in carbs, paratha, wheat. So both of it will increase your carb intake, right? So how do you, and again, I don't know if you noticed, potato has high GI and high GL. Okay. So it is not good for your sugar. So instead of a aloo paratha, can you have a paneer or a dal or say methi, palak, probably a mooli, those parathas, right? Instead of a aloo paratha. Instead of cereals, have a dalia or oats. Whole grain bread is preferred over white bread. However, don't have whole wheat bread very often because there are other issues. It is still processed. You have preservatives also in the bread that we get. So I think once in 15 days is something which is still okay. Worst case, once in a week, but not more than that. Okay. Instead of a vada pav mein ek to vada is all aloo, then up you're frying it, then pav is processed. Absolutely not good at all. Instead of that, idli sambar is better. Brown rice is better than white rice. Don't have an ice cream. Yogurt is absolutely great, but not sweetened yogurt again, because sweetened yogurt will be increasing the simple carbs. Zero, no soft drink. Lime water is great again without added sugar. Fruit juice, instead of a fruit juice, have a whole fruit. Instead of fried chicken, fish, etc., have a grilled or roasted chicken fish. Food pairing, it is always great if you're going to have a high GI food. First of all, reduce the quantity and pair it with your protein and fiber. So, protein and fiber will slow down the digestion. They will, and your portion automatically will reduce, right? Because you have the protein in your plate, you have the fiber in your plate. In fact, it's a very good idea to start your lunch or your any food with some salad. Eat the salad first, and then probably you even it'll be great if you can keep a 15-minute gap between your salad and your main food if possible, because then you will actually know whether you're how hungry you are, and hence end up eating a smaller portion of your chapati ya dal rice ya vegetables, all of that. If not, also when you're eating, start eating salads first and then eat the rest of your food. Using whole grains and legumes, adding non-starchy vegetables is the next thing that you can do. Using low GI alternatives, we have shared what you can, replace with, or for mindful cooking techniques. For example, frying, obviously. Even, for example, there are people who would probably use a whole grain atta or mixed, with jawar, bajra, and all. But if you're again going to be frying your puris made out of that, it is going to defy the whole reason why you have opted for whole grain carbs, right? So be conscious of how you are actually cooking the food. How can you increase fiber in your food? You can add things like figs. You can have, so these are the examples. Sweet potatoes are good, but again, it has a slightly higher GI, so quantity should be limited. It's still better than a potato. Then you can have barley, beans, oats, then lentils, of course, whole wheat bread. We spoke about all of these. Choose whole grains over refined grains. Eat more fruits and vegetables. Now, a little bit on this. When you're looking at your plate portions, please share your plate portions on the group so that it's okay if you're getting comments on it. That's exactly why we are in the group, right? And the more, in fact, it helps everyone get reminded how to get your food portions corrected. Coming back, what I wanted to say was your plate needs to have at least half of your plates need to be of salad and vegetables, if I'm talking about lunch. Morning breakfast, half of your plate needs to be of, sorry, start with the fruit. You can have any kind of salad if you can. Otherwise, something, the vegetables in your upma, vegetables in your poha, your sambar can have a lot of vegetables, right? Those options. So your portion, half of your plates have to be of either fruits or vegetables. Add beans, lentils, or peas to your soup and salads. How will you benefit? You will get fiber in that as well as protein, both of it. Sprinkle some oat bran, flax seeds, some new ways of, just adding some more fiber in your yogurt and smoothies as well. Drink plenty of water. Water, nothing can substitute water. Water is going to help in your digestion. Fiber is going to help in your digestion. We had a session on hydration as well, right? Now, before I end, I would want to share, how fiber has helped in my gut health. Okay. I think I've mentioned this earlier as well. So I've had severe gut health issues because of my sitting job. Now, 27 years of sitting job across, because I've been an IT professional, which meant, and then come COVID, it gets aggravated, right? Because we're on calls. Earlier, we used to have a break after leaving office, come back home and do what you have to do. Take care of the house, you move. But come COVID, we all went into this whole digital era where we are on laptops, on calls the whole day. It increased even further, led me, obviously, it was not because of that COVID period, because of what I did or didn't do before in terms of didn't do exercise and was only sitting earlier. I ended up having a fissure issue and ended up having to go for a operation also to rectify it. Even after that, though the pain reduced, my bowel movement had not improved because obviously my exercise levels also had not gained that much traction, though I had increased my movements, though I had increased my walking. Now, obviously, exercise helps you with your bowel movements. What you eat also, unfortunately, is required. So it's a balance of both what you eat as well as your exercise. Through this program, I understood how to balance my plate better, to eat more fiber, to eat more micronutrients and lesser of carbs. Okay, through this program, I started adding fiber. I started adding pre and probiotics. But how did I use fiber? Because there are many who go through, digestion issues, and especially people who cannot pass their stools on a on daily basis. I had this problem until 10 months, 6 months back, I would say, though it had reduced drastically until 6 months back. My bowel movements or my excretion was probably after 2 3 days. Okay. And how fiber helped me was I took extra, though I used to take my fiber with protein in the morning for breakfast. I started adding fiber before breakfast as well, 1 scoop, and then before sleeping, I used to have 2 scoops of fiber. What it helped with is eventually I could actually pass my stools on a daily basis. Today, I don't need to have fiber now in the night. I have it with my protein, but I am able to pass my stools on a daily basis. So, fiber actually rectified quite a bit of my gut health issues as well, and it can do so for you as well. Um, I still today, if I'm not having, if I've gone out and I feel even a little bloated, I ensure I have for that 5 grams of fiber in a glass of water before sleeping to ensure I have a good night's sleep as well as I'm able to pass my stools in the next morning. I hope this tip helps you well, and I hope what we have covered helps you make the right decisions in choosing the right carbs, choosing the right quantity, and eating the right quantity, and also adding more fiber to your food. We encourage and believe in shining. Start every day with gratitude and optimism. Have your nutrition. Just eating the food that you're buying and cooking is not enough. It's not going to bridge the needs that you have. So, hence, you need to have your nutrition. Have the right nutrition, and we recommend NutriLIV because that's something that we are ourselves having, we are giving our families, and it has a history of 90 years of providing pure, organic, unadulterated, um, non-DNA tampered organic food, supplements that are coming to you. Visualize and set your health goals very, very clearly because there is nothing I think more important than health. If you don't have health, whatever we are earning is not going to help us, right? So set your intentions right, learn something new. Come join us again on Monday. We will have another topic ready to share with you. Exercise daily because whatever you do with the right food, even if you're sleeping at the right time, but if you're not exercising, how will the food get digested? How will your muscles get strengthened? Because if you're not exercising, this is something that I learned from this program from Farooq, continuously telling us that without exercise, your muscles are going to go weak. Your flexibility is going to go down as we age, right? You can have all the amount of nutrition, but if you don't exercise, it's not going to be absorbed by your body, right? And again, everything works hand in hand, and that's why I love this program because it's not just about one thing, it is about doing all of it, even if you do something right from every aspect, which is um, food, food timing, your nutrition, your exercise, being in a community, listening to positive inputs, all of this, having a positive mental attitude, this all of this combined actually helps you build a better life and live a better life. That's it from my side. Back to you, Ruchita.
Thank you so much, Veda, and thank you for sharing all of your personal experiences and practical tips with it because it comes in very handy to understand how to implement this in our life. with that, guys, we come to an end of this session. And like Veda said, it's a continuous learning process. So do join us again on the next one. Until then, good night, stay safe.